Okay, we got truly innovative FPS games from Rilo. Okay, I hope I said that right. Okay, this popped up and I want to see what's going on. Okay.
Sprint, mouse look, aim down sights, health regen. Mechanics which gamers now accept as standard without second thought were at one point in time boundary-pushing innovations in first-person shooter games.
Yeah.
But today, in an industry where so many mechanics, gameplay styles, and control schemes are the same across the board, it can be tough to imagine a game bringing something truly new to the genre the way the classics did decades ago.
It's not like all the classic FPSs are bad though, because sometimes they don't have those things. Right? I mean, I've watched a couple videos where they're talking about sprint and aim down sight are kind of like opposing things, like opposite sides of like a magnet or something. Sometimes you want to go really fast and then other times you want to walk really slow and like be precise, but it's like it's a video game, it's a gun at the end of the day. Um you know, you like these things, yes, they are common, but they don't have to be standard. Like whenever you include something like sprint, what are you trying to make the player do? Go faster? I mean, okay. I mean, do you have to dedicate a whole button to it? Do you have to make it so that when you sprint, you cannot use your gun, which is a commonality amongst a lot of things? Or just because you aim down sight, does that mean you have to sacrifice movement? I mean, for the most part, I mean, that's a commonality among a lot of things, but um yes, like they are there, but sometimes I want to play something else, something that's like a little different.
Sometimes, though, the most innovative designs slip by right under our noses. Today, let's take a look at those FPS games that did it differently, from the past, both distant and more recent, to the present, in order to consider the future of truly innovative first-person shooter games.
Which honestly is actually really hard, because at the end of the day, what is like every shooting game? Well, it's just a shooting game. Where is paint? Okay, all you're doing in a shooting game is this. I mean, how do you innovate? It's got to be like the hardest thing to innovate on this, like just shooting, like boom, 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 damage, damage, damage at range. All right, at least with like a video game, that's like melee oriented or something like that. I think it's a little bit easier to innovate, um, when I think it's easier to innovate with melee combat than it is like shooting stuff, because I mean, at the end of the day, both like genres are just trying to do damage, all right? But how you do the damage to make the player feel good is also important and what makes a game good or whatever. So all that just to say that I think FPS has it kind of hard because of the concept of a gun, and whenever people think gun, they think maximum damage, you should die like really quick. It's a gun versus like it's melee combat. If I swipe you with a sword, you won't die like instantly, much the same way. Or like conversely, like if it's a gun, I shoot you in like the right spot, like a headshot, you should die in like one shot or something like that. Because you slow the time to kill down, with melee, it's like there's room for a little bit of artistic creativity.
The year was 1994, and before turning heads worldwide with the game-changing control schemes, breathtaking visuals, and to this day groundbreaking AI of Halo, Bungie was innovating on the way people played games on the personal computer.
Next slide, please. Bro, that computer.
Following up 1993's Pathways into Darkness, Marathon
Ooh.
was a maze-like FPS exclusive to Apple Mac.
Hey, that's that one new game that Bungie's making but then they stole all the symbols and shit from that one dude, and now they're putting a pause on it.
Macintosh. The game featured a new control gimmick, free look so-called, the ability for the player to move using their keyboard keys while freely aiming left, right, up, or down, any direction they wanted actually, using their mouse.
Dang, look how far out he is, dude. On that like setup, he's like way the fuck out here. It's like, oh, I gotta have my movement keys right in the center of my body. And my mouse hand's like way the fuck out there. Like, dang, dude. And he's on a little tiny mouse pad, which means, of course, he's got to be at like 1600 DPI, doing like little wrist movements to like, or like a little wrist movement will give him something like, what? Like all the way across the screen.
Prior to this, almost every FPS used a dual directional key setup.
Oh my god, I cannot believe that was like a thing. Thank God I wasn't gaming back then. Oh. You have to tell me I have to use my mouse to aim? I got the shaky aim. I can't possibly aim with monsters and demons shooting back at me. And I got this tiny ass little mouse pad. I don't even know what a DPI is. They probably had that little plastic ball in there still, just rattling around. I got this high-tech ass mouse, like laser sensor, super light, zero friction pads, whatever.
One set of keys for movement, another for aiming or escape.
And probably he also, that was like, he's had that mouse pad for like a couple years, so you know it's slow as fuck and it fails the scratch test.
Where aiming and movement were linked together. It's obvious now how mouse look became the inarguably ubiquitous control scheme for first-person shooters on PC, but at the time, it was a mechanic. One that, upon being developed, had yet to be tested and accepted worldwide. In today's video, we'll be covering mechanics like this, not themes, genres, or game types. We also won't be covering anything that isn't a first-person shooter. It's why I won't be talking about games like DayZ or Minecraft.
Ooh, the third person.
While which are the most influential games of all time is certainly an interesting topic.
Prone. Going prone. Are you kidding me, dude? This is like the most dorky mechanic I've seen in FPS, dude. You want me to slow down and aim? You want me to slow my body movement and just like be a ground hugger, hug the ground, make my target smaller? That is some beta-like behavior right here.
Topic for another day. This discussion will center around mechanics and tech implementation I personally believe were, are, or could be considered innovative in their field. Likely while Halo was still being developed at Bungie as an open-world RTS, gamers had just gotten their hands for the first time on another shooter with sprawling environments, Delta Force, published by Novalogic for Windows in 1998. With draw distances never before seen due to the developer.
Wait, this was in 1998? That wasn't that far ago. I think in 98, what was I? Was I in like kindergarten or something? Or first or second grade? Somewhere around there. Oh my god.
Proprietary voxel space engine, the player could aim and shoot at enemies with a long-range scope, depicted picture-in-picture here on the player's screen.
Picture-in-picture? Oh my god. Why wouldn't you just move this like circle right here to like the center? And just, bro, you move the circle right to the center and you don't add this stupid like all black everywhere else or like blur out all your corners and top and bottom. Just leave it as is. That is a, like, honestly, like add a little dot right here in the center. And this game probably, I don't think the game had like ballistics. So you didn't have things like bullet velocity of like, you got to like match the arc in it and shit. This is probably like a hit scan gun, if anything. All you need to do, I mean, you got the little distance thing right there, but whatever. Move this circle right here in the center. And this is like a top tier HUD for like a sniper. 100%, dude.
a mechanic which would, due to difficulty rendering complex high-definition environments, mostly make its way out of FPS games until the mid to late 2010s. A mechanic which did stick around since its inception was the ability to aim down sights, first seen in action in GoldenEye and the Medal of Honor series, but it wasn't actually a given in FPS games until later than many modern gamers might realize. The same can actually be said for a regenerating health system taken from
Oh yeah, was this Medal of Honor?
action RPGs of the 1990s and making its way into games like Halo in the 2000s. While games in the early 2000s picked
The regenerating health. I mean, regenerating health. I mean, in the early Halo, well, in all Halos, well, not all Halos, but like the early Halos, your health didn't regenerate. You had a shield that regenerated, and then you had your health bar that you had to go collect the health packs for. But I think it's a convenience thing that people just didn't want to like deal with, because you had, I don't know, like when Counter-Strike came out, but like Counter-Strike, you didn't have any health regenerating shit. I mean, you got hit for like 50 or whatever, you got hit for half your health. It's like, okay, you got to do the rest of the round with like half health and hopefully no one hits you or whatever. The regenerating health was probably a good thing because it removes a speed bump from the core gameplay loop that is, you know, just constantly going on a kill spree and just snowballing, and every like 1v1 that you take, I mean, you know that guy has 100% health, you know you have 100% health, versus like let's say you're good or like even average, taking 1v1s in a situation where you don't have regenerating health, trying to think, because like I don't know, it kind of depends on like how big the game is. Like if some other dude like like let's say you're playing like an outside level, maybe he got like popped for like a couple ticks of damage, so that's all he has left, and then he takes a 1v1, so he's not versing with like 100% health, so it's like, oh, it punishes you. It kind of like, it's a punishing mechanic for like exploring the world in the sense of like multiplayer games. But I mean, if you're playing like a single player thing, like Fear Campaign or something, it's like, it doesn't really matter, just whatever floats your boat.
picked and chose when to use mechanics like ADS, scopes, or health regen. All were very much present for a game whose influence needs no explanation: Call of Duty 2.
Call of Duty 2, I mean, yeah, but like before we were playing Call of Duty, everyone was playing Medal of Honor, dog. You ain't gonna mention Medal of Honor? I mean, you kind of did, but you didn't say it directly. But like, you know, the shooters in the 90s. I remember playing Medal of Honor on the PlayStation 1. That's where I got my like, it was either, no, it was, I played Medal of Honor first, and then I got into Halo, which was like, that shit was good. But yes, everybody knows Call of Duty.
By taking the previous titles in the series' primary and secondary weapon systems, sprint, crouch, and prone positions, the ability to ADS for greater accuracy, and replacing a health kit and hit point system from the first game with automatically regenerating health, communicated here.
Oh wait, this is original Call of Duty 2, not even Modern Warfare. I had to like relook at the title. I remember this.
Immersively with visuals and audio, COD 2 was not only huge for the World War II genre at the time, its basic core gameplay systems are still mirrored in most military FPSs all the way up till today in the 2000s.
Military? Well, what do you mean by military FPS? Like an FPS that is based thematically on the military? Well then, yeah, but let's not try to fool ourselves and call Call of Duty a military sim game. That's not true. Call of Duty was and always is and always will be an arcade version of FPS. It just is. If you want to play a military sim game, there's games out there. They exist and they do a way better job than Call of Duty, but those games aren't as popular as Call of Duty.
2020s. But boots on the ground is not the only way that you'll be shooting in first person these days. Jumping forward to the 2010s,
I mean, there was that the jetpack era of FPSs, and it all started with Titanfall, Titanfall 2, and then the Call of Duty had like what was it, the Advanced Warfare era, the jetpack era of COD. People back then didn't like it because the extreme amount of movement that the game had. Gamers don't like looking up, number one. With more movement called for more accurate aiming, which controller people do not have, despite the fact they have aim assist, whatever. I guess the overall vibe was that everyone's jumping around. I can't see shit. This doesn't feel like Call of Duty to me anymore. I'm just not going to play. But in retrospective, we can take from what we know now from playing many FPSs that if we go back without the rose-tinted goggles and take a closer look at what the jetpack era of FPS games did, I think it was a fun era. Like, I can go back and appreciate things now as like an older gamer that when I was a younger person I did not appreciate. Just saying. And then of course you got like Apex over here. And what is this? Is this Fade? This is probably Fade.
Advanced movement systems had become all the rage. DICE's Mirror's Edge, essentially a tech demo for the studio's new Frostbite engine, introduced parkour or free running into a first-person perspective.
Oh yeah, this feels
some
great.
Gorgeous visuals and tone to boot. Less a shooter and more a movement puzzle though. It wasn't until a bit later that the two were truly melded properly. First seen in games.
Oh yeah, the free running. Free running is baller. Like Mirror's Edge, a baller. Dying Light, awesome.
Like Brink, it wasn't until around 2014 that free running felt as good as it looked, with Respawn Entertainment's Titanfall.
Yeah, that's the true innovator. Love it.
While the movement shooter wasn't an unknown idea at this time, earlier series such as Tribes had turned exploiting a game's physics engine into an actual mechanic. Titanfall was the game that...
There was also, let's not forget, Warframe. Warframe took an exploit that players did. I forgot what they called it because I didn't play Warframe in the early days. But nowadays it's called bullet jumping. You crouch, jump. Or no, what was it? Like you have to go sprinting, you slide, go into like a knee slide, and then you hit spacebar, well, whatever on controller. And then you go into like this bullet jump, and then you could have like 360 degrees of control on it. And the game feels so fluid. It's so awesome. I love it.
Perfectly meshed, satisfying Call of Duty-like gunplay with advanced movement techs in a PvP.
Because, and also, the people that made Titanfall, they came from the Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 days. Those guys made Titanfall 1 and 2.
Environment, bringing this style of gameplay into the mainstream, with popular series following in the game's double jumping, wall running, clambering, and sliding footsteps.
In retrospect, this game, or this era of COD, was received with mixed feelings for the reasons I previously stated.
To this day. While movement abilities such as vault, clamber, and slide have become welcome and recognized staples for mainstream FPS for years now, these techs all have one...
Oh, is that like what's that called in modern Call of Duty with like the octagon run or the 8-wave run bullshit? I forgot what it's called.
...thing in common. They exist in a sensical, grounded space. They rely on a player's intuitive, evolutionary understanding of gravity. What if you threw all that out the window completely? Well, the next game that I'm about to discuss did exactly that.
Throw out the gravity.
This video today wouldn't be possible without the support of War Thunder.
War Thunder!
Under the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made on PC and consoles, completely free to play. Now, I've followed War Thunder since it came out, and as it's amassed over 70 million players worldwide over the years, one thing stuck out to me: this game can truly be played however you want. If you love kicking back and just scrapping tanks and planes, taking in the authentic audio-visual experience of mechanized warfare over the past 100 years, play on casual mode. Or if you're the kind of person who can name the materials, thickness, and slope angle of a BTR's armor plating off the top of your head, simulator battles will be your speed. with every little detail taken into consideration. But no matter how you play, what era, which of the over 2,500 vehicles or gameplay styles you want to rock with, all you need is a mouse and keyboard or controller to play. The game is optimized to run on even the most meager hardware, so no NASA PC required either. Sign up with the code in the description or pinned comment on this video, and for a limited time, new players are those.
Which one is more popular? Is it War Thunder or Raid Shadow Legends? It's either one or the other.
Who haven't played in 6 months will be treated to a huge bonus pack of premium vehicles, the Eagle of Valor exclusive decorator, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium account. Do not miss the chance to claim that stuff, and thank you again to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. While we may have seen vacuum-based FPS combat in Call of Duty Ghosts, it was really nothing more than a visual gimmick. The first time I truly felt the potential for zero-gravity combat was in Boundary, a spiritual successor to a similar null-G multiplayer FPS, 2009's Shattered Horizon.
I'm unfamiliar.
Now, at first glance, an FPS where you're an astronaut, that's all there is to it, right? Well, in practice, the omnidirectional movement in tandem with omni-orientational map design creates something utterly unique. Think about that.
Probably, but the fact that you're, well, trying to add a whole nother plane of movement is just really tough. It's hard enough to move and shoot alone. Okay, so let's like take it for levels. So like, let's say I'm only gonna move or only gonna aim with my, Jesus, there's like some hair, whatever. Let's say I'm only going to aim with my arm, no movement, all right? And this applies to either controller or MK, whatever. Trying to move your mouse to like a reticle, or trying to move your reticle to like somebody's body is already hard enough, especially when that other person is doing things in response to you. All right? It's easy to hit a still target. It's harder to hit a moving target, all right? So that's level 1, level 2. So let's add another level of adding your X and Y axis, you know, forward, backward, left, right, on the ground. You know, got gravity always pushing down on you. Now you want to add your left hand, and you got WASD, or your left thumbstick, to move around, all right? Which is increasingly harder to shoot. All right? It just is. And especially when you got another opponent moving and grooving just as much as you are. Now you want to add a whole nother plane. And also, how do you control that? Like, you only have like so many fingers to like move. Like on controller, you got like, you control your X and Y axis on with like your left thumb. Now you want to add like an up or a down. What you'd have to have, like, then you'd have to like either use your pointer and at least two other fingers to access those planes or directions like instantaneously, because you have access to X and Y axis instantaneously with the thumbstick. Like, I just don't see how it would be. You'd have to like mess with like your muscle memory and come up with a whole nother controller to add a whole nother plane. But I mean, I'm just getting off. It's harder to shoot when you add like another plane of movement into the mix, is what I'm saying.
You can move in any direction, spin and orientate yourself in any position.
Do a barrel roll. That's a good move.
Your perspective changes based on your orientation, and as a result, up can be down, or the side walls can be your floor or ceiling, or neither. It's all up to your movement and how your brain reads the space. The map design of this game tied into this. There is no high ground, defilade, or enfilade, no power positions in a general sense. Anything can be perceived as cover to hide behind, to push up and over, or down below, depending on how you look at it. Sound a bit sickening? Yeah, well, some players definitely felt the same way. But if you take the mentality of the training room scenes in the book Ender's Game, once you are able to rid your mind of the idea of up or down, you can really get creative and intuitive with your...
Holy shit, dude. I had no idea. I just had to pause it. Are you kidding me? People didn't quit the game because of the third axis of movement. People quit the game because they damn near had a seizure. Are you shitting me with this muzzle flash? This is... I thought Apex was bad, dude. I didn't know this level of seizure inducing like, oh god.
Your movement, taking advantage of those who couldn't rid their mind of the natural human tendency to look for the floor. It might have honestly been...
Did you just freeze that guy in an ice cube?
Rid their mind of the natural human tendency to look for the floor.
That's an ice cube.
It might have honestly been a bit too off-putting for mainstream players, and despite its polished core gameplay, Boundary also...
Bro, not with that muzzle flash for that gun.
Suffered from a general identity crisis, and there were plethoras of publishing issues going on behind the scenes to add insult to injury. Sadly, despite its forward-thinking ideas, the game is completely dead, alongside its predecessor. However,
what was that game called? Boundary Horizon? It's the third axis, man. It's too much. The third axis is too much.
However, Boundary's NASA punk sci-fi design was gorgeous, in my opinion, and the gameplay was chunky, satisfying, and intuitive. I'm confident that one day another studio could riff off the same ideas and truly bring the intelligent design needed to let a spacefaring FPS truly shine. If you think omni-orientational movement and null-G map design seem confusing though, brace yourself, you ain't seen nothing.
You drink a single drop of Immortal's blood. What game is this? You die 1,000 times over. What is this?
This is Hyper Demon, and it is one of the most unique FPS experiences you'll ever find. Created by indie developer Sorath as a follow-up to the hellish arena FPS Devil Daggers, Hyper Demon is all about tempo, killing entities and success.
This game, as well, is also about seizure-inducing visuals. Sheesh.
Session adds seconds to your clock, and the game can be beaten in mere minutes if you're able to keep your timing up, hit your shots, and avoid being touched by any of the enemies. Using your movement text and contextual attacks, this game is all skill. But...
This, I mean, This, you know what the concept of this reminds me of? Just take Asteroid, make it an FPS, and then you have this game.
That's not actually why it's interesting. Watch closely. In this game, you have eyes on the back of your head. You can see in 360 degrees.
Okay.
The game clearly has a mega boosted FOV, creating a GoPro-like effect when the player jumps high above the arena, but these red shapes you see pass across the screen, those are enemies behind the player's cone of vision.
Holy shit.
Within a certain radius. Everything in Hyper Demon is about audio-visual feedback. When you're actually playing the game, trust me, it's nowhere near as acid trippy as it looks. Everything has a meaning. And
I mean, are you sure about that? Because this does look like an acid trippy game.
Enemies are golden, and starburst when gearing up for an attack. Killed enemies are purple, etc. And red means that that thing is behind you. I know it's a bit tough to grasp as a viewer, but just try it out for yourself. It is a very satisfying and addicting experience, and it also has a hidden Easter egg PvP mode where you fight other players as a biblically accurate angel. I mean...
I see so many goddamn videos. People with the biblically accurate angels to add insult. What was this?
Come on. Hyper Demon is the only game I've...
Hyper Demon. Give me a sec. What the hell? No, not Final Fantasy. That's not the vibe. Get out of here. Let me see. Hyper Demon. 15 Dara? It goes on the wish list. You gotta give me that shit. Gotta go on sale, brother.
ever seen which attempts to portray what having eyes on the back of your head might actually look like to the human brain, rather than relying on the obvious stretched FOV. Using a color-based system is simple and brilliant. While Sorath's little gems of games are and probably always will remain extremely niche, the attempt at rewriting the human mind's intuitive sense of perception for the sake of complex gameplay is fascinating, and is one of the most innovative design decisions that I've seen in years. Reinterpreting the way we think about physical spaces isn't exclusive to single-player art house trips, however, as exemplified by a much more recent title.
Oh, is this just a silly Valorant? the one game, the one tag FPS that I just call silly Valorant? It's not Valorant, I just call it silly Valorant because it's like, it adds like fun factors to it.
Of anything I've brought up today, you very well might have heard of this one. Spectre's fundamental concept is called duality. The player—
Oh wait, no, bro. Like tag shooters, like there's this like sect. There's like because like Shroud has his game, and then what was it Fragpunk? There's that one, and then I guess this one's called Spectre Divide. No, Fragpunk was silly Valorant with the bouncing bullets and shit. Tag shooters, man. Ugh.
Player controls two bodies, both alive and on the map at all times. Whichever body the player currently inhabits, they control through normal FPS gameplay, and can throw a puck, which relocates their empty body to its thrown position. One click of a button, and you switch between the two bodies. Most people—
That's kind of funny, because what is that implying? It's like a 3v3 format, which implies like I don't want to have to deal with like many people on a team. That's too much communication. Just do threes. And also the game probably doesn't have a lot of faith in itself, so that it could actually fit up a lobby of like 12 people to get into one match. So it's like, yeah, just get 6 people.
People, at first glance, viewed this as having 2 lives, a second chance in case you die. And you can certainly play it that way if you're boring. No, in my opinion, and I believe that of the devs, it goes way beyond that. Consider this. Spectre is a classic bomb defense game, similar to Counter-Strike. During the setup phase, defenders can place their bodies anywhere on the map they like, so that in the match, 3 defenders can cover the entire map at once. Your second body pings when it hears enemy sound nearby. Skilled players can have mental coverage of the whole map all at one time, anticipating the movement and rotations of 6 attacker bodies under the control of 3 enemy players. Most tactical FPSs require strategy, teamwork, but this game allows one player to cover multiple angles, to bait their own peaks, to engage in their own pincer maneuvers. It creates this chess-like dynamic where you always have to think a step and a half ahead of what you're physically doing in the moment, moving, rotating, and resetting your second body in anticipation of a play you could force your enemy into falling for. The combinations of possible plays are essentially endless, as is the height of the skill ceiling. And maybe that's an issue.
I think tag FPSs are so niche. It's like much the same way for MMOs. Everything tries to be a World of Warcraft killer. I mean, Valorant has kind of like cemented itself as like a competitor, at least. There's only 2 like tag FPSs. It's Counter-Strike and Valorant. For any other tag FPS to try to shoehorn itself in there, I mean, I think it's good because, I mean, it's more competition, but I think people are just too invested into Counter-Strike and subsequently Valorant as well. More so Counter-Strike because of the gambling aspect and the skins that come along with it. Valorant for the extremely expensive, like, just skins, period. But it's like we're not even talking about like the game. We are talking about the gameplay, but if you want to try to convince and try to pull people away from Counter-Strike and Val, you have to have those people come to a realization moment, and then have them not give a shit about their skins in the game, which is going to be like extremely hard, and go for like gameplay mechanics over FOMO. I don't think this is going to happen.
Popularity, connection with mainstream audiences at least. See, here's the thing. What really makes something innovative isn't its creativity, the degree to which it pushes boundaries, the magnitude to which it disrupts the status quo. Something is truly innovative when people can't remember what it was like before that thing existed. Since I was young, I've always been yearning for a game that truly shifted the landscape, that made everything before it feel dated. Battlefield 3 was probably the closest I've experienced during my time in the gaming space, but even that was just a simple leap in visual and audio fidelity.
I mean, the main differentiating factor I think most people would agree with for Battlefield, opposed to Call of Duty, is the vehicle combat. You play Battlefield for the vehicle combat, not the mechanics that go along with like the FPS gunplay. Like, yes, they are like a little bit more realistic, but just because realistic doesn't mean better. The all-encompassing vehicle combat is why people most chiefly play Battlefield.
As a child of the late 90s, I got into gaming in a post-Half-Life and post-Halo world, one where games we play today are still basically just riffs off ideas from 25 plus years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of why I'm even making a video like this.
I mean, look at the whole genre of Battle Royale. I mean, I'm probably going to do it out of order. First, there was Arma Mod. Then it was H1Z1. Then it was PUBG. Then it was Fortnite. Then it was Warzone / Apex. And then what else? I mean, name another battle royale that's like kind of popular, and it's like right there. So you have like 8 iterations of, 15, 20 years of iterations of like battle royale. All right, every game does this.
So what does the future of FPS really look like? Well, maybe it could have less to do with how the game is played and more to do with how its world is represented.
Oh, the future. The future.
Voxels are a form of 3D rendering, a volumetric pixel, if you will, a value on a grid in 3-dimensional space. Developed initially for use in 3D medical imaging, voxels have been used to render terrain as far back as the late 1990s, including in Delta Force. Teardown was initially created around 2018 to 2019 by indie developer Dennis Gustafsson as a sandbox to test the application of destructible voxel environments with real-time ray tracing. While I can't speak with intelligence about voxels, path, and ray tracing, I can speak to the tactility this game's level of interactivity brought forward.
But that's pretty
more
cool.
Importantly, the ways in which the gameplay itself was influenced by the technology behind it. Teardown, in my opinion, exemplifies the potential future of the FPS genre. And
I mean, another game that does a really good job of this is the Finals. They got some pretty good building destruction in that game because the people that started making Finals came from Battlefield. So, yeah.
And here's why. Voxel physics and ray tracing are hot commodities right now for aesthetic reasons, but to make an analogy, we are basically still in the pre-HD era before Super Mario 64 when it comes to this technology. In a few years, higher voxel density and in turn higher definition environments could be fully interactive with everything rendered down to the molecular level, material density.
I mean, it's only a matter of time, but like that level, I mean, do you really need your players to be able to manipulate every little molecule on the game, or could essentially you just level all the buildings down and make this level like Final Destination? I think that's good enough.
Weight, flexibility, and stress, fluid physics, there's a future where 3D environments are rendered close to how actual materials, particles, and waves exist in the real physical world, leaving polygons and wireframes as a thing of the past. And the most intelligent, groundbreaking, and influential FPS games have not only presented new technology, they've intelligently designed gameplay which effectively harnesses it. After creating this little destructible world, it actually took a while for the devs of Teardown to figure out what game their voxel sandbox would actually be, and they settled on a destruction-based heist system, wherein the player would create, or, well, destroy, a path through the map, and then attempt to traverse it under a timed countdown to succeed. Every innovative FPS of the last...
I mean, well, shit. Like, if your core mechanic is being able to make a thing and destroy a thing, you could implement that into like almost any game genre, like action combat, something like Devil May Cry, shooting game. Like you have this heist version, you could incorporate that into like GTA, incorporate it in like more heavily into a game, something like the Finals or like Call of Duty or whatever, or something like Apex. I think it'd be really cool in what do you call it? Something like Kingdom Come Deliverance, where hey, you got like a building or a castle, trebuchet, get that shit, bang, it's down. Or something like Lord of the Rings. Remember the siege on Helm's Deep when they blew up that wall and then they started knocking the doors down? That'd be pretty cool.
Last 50 years has basically done the same thing, created new systems, new ways to interact with the digital world, and then designed gameplay which fully took advantage of these decisions. Wolfenstein, Half-Life, Halo, they all became legendary not just because they were groundbreaking mechanically, but because they made their groundbreaking mechanics fun. This is the future of the FPS genre.
Fun.
A link between technology and art, games which
make it fun.
not only change how we can play, but improve how it feels to play. And to be honest, while I have my own ideas, there's no way to know what the next huge innovation will be until it's already in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe the FPS genre has peaked and we don't need mechanical innovation anymore. Maybe audiences are in the mood for more of the same, but snappier with higher frames per second and lower latencies. But I'm not so sure, because the child in me doesn't find anything quite as interesting as opening up a new toy and seeing something that is just cool in a way that I never quite imagined before. The games which defined the way we play FPS now came out now almost 20 years ago, and the ones that defined the
I'm so old.
world they were released in came out about 20 years before them. Maybe we're on the brink of some great changes to the genre. Maybe those game changers aren't quite here yet. Or maybe they are.
I mean, you kind of have some things trying to like push the boundary. I mean, what were those? There's like 2 games where they tried to take the Unreal 5 engine and like make the shooting game like insanely realistic. One of them was called Body Cam. It's crazy how realistic that game looks. And the other one, I forgot what it was called, but it was the same concept. Super hyper realistic, like SWAT bro with like a gun or like a little SMG or something, just cruising through like an abandoned warehouse. Like realistic lighting. It's seemingly imperceptible from like real live footage. The only way you would know the difference is that if you previously knew it's a video game. Other than that, if I pop that, like the realistic game on, my mom would just be like, oh, look at that. That's real.
And we just haven't realized it. I'm Rilo, and I like to talk about stuff that I find interesting.
It was Rilo, so I did land it.
Subscribe for more like this, and I will catch you very soon. So a little earlier in this video, I mentioned the most influential games of all time and how it might be an interesting subject to cover. If you think so, please let me know in the comments, as well as any other ideas you have of subjects surrounding FPS or games in general you think I should take a look at. And I want to again give thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. Get out there and join the millions of players playing for free on console and PC right now, and sign up using the code in the video's description or pinned comment to get that bonus pack for new or returning players. 7 days of premium account, 100,000 silver lions, exclusive premium vehicles, and much more.
Nice.
And thank you again for watching, and a huge thanks to bringing me to 200,000 subscribers in my first year making YouTube content. It really means a lot and constantly keeps me motivated to make this content better. There is some very exciting stuff on the horizon, and I cannot wait for 2025. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Peace.
Nice. Dang, I'd have to think real hard, like, because you named like a lot of good ones. I'm a fan now. Dub, great video. Truly innovative FPS. I mean, I think I played like throughout my not career, but like throughout my years of playing video games, I've just played like the popular ones. You know, sometimes innovations can come from like little no-name games that no one plays. Um, which unfortunately is, I mean, kind of shitty because, you know, like you get like a big studio that could go see like that indie game and can think that, ooh, that mechanic is really good, so they take it, put it into their big game, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this AAA studio came up with the mechanic. It's like, no, it initially came from like that little indie guy over there, and they never get any recognition. But like trying to figure out more innovative FPSs, I mean, I'd have to expand it to the third person, because just because I don't freaking know, because like once you apply like the third person, you can get a little bit more like movement mechanics and so on and so forth in there. I mean, overall, you did a great job. I think you named all of them. uh yeah. uh well, one thing that you did not mention is probably aim smoothing from Apex. I think that's like a good mechanic, even though it's not supposed to be like that with aim smoothing. And it's supposed to be like a what do you call it? Like an M and K thing of like the smoother you move your mouse, the less recoil you get. I mean, it's like a little tiny mechanic. It's is whatever, but kind of worth mentioning because it is FPS. But like Apex, like everybody loves the movement system and the gunplay and that shit with like the momentum and all that jazz. I don't know. Overall, baller video, and I'm looking forward to the next one. But that is it for me, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, later.